Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Hayemi, Meseches NIDAH, Lamed Beis, a brand new parak. We begin at the Mishnah on Lamed Aleph Beis, 6 lines from the bottom. Benois Kusim, daughters of Kusi families. So the Kusim were imported individuals, imported by the king of Asher, Sancherv, who sought to populate the Shomron region of Eretz Yisrael. So he brought these individuals from a place called Kusa and other places, brought them into Eretz Yisrael, and they were not Jewish. Hashem sent out some lions to shake them up, and they converted. And it is a questionable conversion. Some hold that it was not legitimate, some consider it to be a legitimate gerus, which makes them into Yisraelim. And that is the view of our Mishnah as well. Ultimately, they discovered that they were really idol worshippers, and Chachamim totally relabeled them and reclassified them as though they're Goyim. But in the interim, before discovering their true allegiance, they were considered to be Israelim. However, there was an issue. They had some difficulty accepting upon themselves the authority. They found it difficult to abide by the Torah Shabbal Peh. They would stick strictly to the literal meaning of the words of the Torah, including in matters of Tumah, like NIDAH, which caused all kinds of confusions. Since they didn't have it right, they miscalculated, and as a result, we, in the traditional camp, would have to treat them as Tamei all the time, just in case. Says the Mishnah, Benois Kusim, so daughters of Kusi family, Nidois Marisasim, considered to be in a state of NIDAH, Marisasim from their cradles, from day one. What about the men in those communities? Now we know that if a man interacts with a NIDAH, he becomes a Boyel NIDAH, and the pasuk says that NIDAH, her NIDAH status rides on him as well. Allah, so he becomes Tamei for 7 days. And likewise, all men in that area are considered as such because their wives were considered to be possible nidais. Akusim metamim, and therefore they are metame mishkav tachten, what's beneath them, like a chair, a mattress, whatever the boil nida sits on becomes tamei kalyan, like the upper item. Now the Gemara later will explain what this means is that although the man receives her tumah to the full extent, but it doesn't necessarily extend completely over to his accessories. Unlike the NIDAH, who sits on something, lies on something, that becomes an Abba Tumah, it's become a person, a Kalim. But the Baal NIDAH, although he gets her status only with respect to himself, doesn't necessarily extend over to the accessories to the full extent. We'll elaborate on that in the Gemara. But why? Because of Neshain Baal NIDAH, because we treat the man as involved with NIDAHs. I'll call dam v'dam, for example, of a confusion in their community is the fact that they don't realize that only red constitutes dam nida and activates the tumas nida. By them, it's every color: green, yellow, orange, purple. So Rashi explains, for instance, you'll see yellow on Sunday. That's it. She's tummy. In their mind, tummy for 7 days. Now let's say come Tuesday. Right, so tummy for 7 days until Shabbos, right? Now comes Tuesday. Now she sees real dam nida red. So according to the real halacha, it is now when she starts her 7-day count, up until next Tuesday, but according to them, it's over. Comes Shabbos. So they stop. They completed their count too early. Okay, which makes them nidahs, according to the real halacha. And Yeshua, they observe, I'll call dam v'dam, every type of dam. Now, although we treat them as nidah and their husbands as well, but it's not definite, it's not confirmed, and therefore there's an element of uncertainty. V'ein chayav alein al bias migdash. A fellow takes one of those garments that were worn by and he walks into the Beis HaMikdash. He's not liable for a curb, bringing it to the Mikdash, because we don't know for sure that it's tamei. V'ein sefer alein is a truma. Likewise, if it touches truma, you don't burn it. You can't eat it, but you can't burn it. Nay, the reason is b'shutumas and b'safeh, because it's only a saf. Back to the first point in the Mishnah. The Kusi babies, they're considered tamei. Hechadam. What exactly took place? Idika chazyon. So theirs are tamei, but ours are not tamei. What happened? Did the baby experience dam? I feel the danami. So even ours would be tamei. Why limit it to them? Read like a chazyon. Well, if there was no dam, the dunami loy, so theirs are also not tamei. How is it that they are Tameh, we are not? Amar Rava, Breder Ravik, Baracha, Barafuna, Amar Avshesh, Achma Eskinan Bistama. The answer is we don't know one way or the other. We're not sure whether there was any dam. Okay, so the kivan the ikam yuta the chazyon chashim, but since there's a small percentage of even young, very young women who will have dam, that elicits a concern. And as we're going to see later, this only applies to their communities because they were not careful with this. They did not consider the younger aged women to be nidahs. So on account of that possibility, we have to treat them all as nidahs, as opposed to by us, where we know that even a 1 day old, if she has dam, we treat her accordingly. Now, who's of the opinion that we're concerned even about a small percentage? You would think, well, if the majority is okay, then let's not be concerned. No, Rameir. Turn to the next topic. Rameir, who holds that even a miut elicits concern. You can't disregard a minority percentage. The Sanya. Where do we find this? By halachos of yivam. So we have a fellow passed away childless. His wife is a yivama, and she's bound for the brother of the deceased to do either chalitza with her or yivam, marry her. Well, let's say they're underage, non-adults, katan uktana, lo yichaltzin, they can't do chalitza, nor can they do yivam. Chacham respond to Rameir. Yes, chalitza makes sense, but we understand because the pasuk says it has to be an adult. Yofa amarta, very well said, shein choltzin. No chalitza on the in the cards. Ish kosev a parsha. Pasuk says that the man failed to take the yivam option, so they do chalitza. Ish kosev a parsha, and ish means an adult. You need to be an adult to be eligible to do chalitza. And what about the yivama? Umakshin ishalish. And we connect because the next part of the pasuk relates to her, so we connect her to him. This, age requirement applies to both equally. By chalitza, but what's wrong with doing yivam? There's no mention of ish there. Why can't they do yivam? Amar, he says you're right, not on account of the pasuk, but on account of a different concern, because yivam is only an option if they have the ability physically to have children. After all, that's the objective of doing the yibum, to promote, to memorialize the deceased. So, if they're not able to bear children due to some sort of medical deficiency, if either one is sterile, can't, then yibum is not an option. And that can only be verified once they turn adult, and you can discern it by their physical features. So at this early stage, it's undiscernible. You can't take chances just in case. Even though it's only a minority chance, only a slight chance, still a concern. That's Rameir Shita. Amar Chacham disagree. They say, look, most likely they're healthy and well. Go ahead, unless you can know otherwise. Amalan, he responds, Katan. Reason why the Katan can't do the Yivam Shami Matzi SARS might be discovered as a SARS, a sterile, unable to bear children. Katana as well. Shamatabati Islandis shall also be unable to bear. V'nimtzu Pagan Be'erva. So if they do the yivam, it will turn out that they're doing something inappropriate, because technically they're relatives. They're not meant to be married unless it's within the yivam context. Shaloi, right? Shaloi baka mitzvah. They're doing arayis without a mitzvah context. They respond, no, it was a ruba. Look at the majority factor. Ruba diktana, roy diktana. Most kids will turn out to be healthy and well. Lav sarisim ninu. That's by the boy. Zilbas ruba diktana. Likewise by the girl. Go with the roiv element. Veruba ketana slav islandis ninu. And most ketanas are not going to be islandis. So we see that according to the Rabbanan, the roiv factor is what determines, versus Rameir, who reckons even with a small chance. And likewise, in our story with the young kusis, maybe, just maybe, they had some dam, even though it's not very common, but Rameir is chayshish even for a miyut. Asks the Gemara, but even within the miyut, category. There is unlikely and really unlikely. Eimar de Shamas le Ramer. It's true that Ramer holds that we're concerned about miyuta de shchiach, about a common minority element. Aval miyuta le shchiach, but something which is totally uncommon, unlikely, like a really young woman to have dam, mishamasle. Where do we find that he's concerned about that? Says the Gemara, no, this is also relatively common. Hanam, here too, miuta deshchiachu is something which happens. And therefore, it poses a concern. We have 3 stories to illustrate it. The first story was, Amar B'yesi Maisa. I'll tell you a story that happened in Boil, in this town, about a baby that had dam. In fact, they had to take it to the mikveh before her mother finished the 2 weeks of Yimei Tumah. After the birth, the baby was already in the mikveh because of the dam that she saw. Vama Rebbe, another story. Masa, a story in the town of Veishar. Vitbilu, same story. Kaidin Ima. Barav Yosef, Masa Badisa, which was in Bavel. Same thing. The newborn was found to have dam. Vitbilu, and she had to be toivel even before Kaidim Le'im. Okay, so we have 3 stories to back this up, which illustrate the commonality of this phenomenon. Therefore, it poses a concern with the B'nai Kus, even from day one, newborn babies. We're concerned about them. Now, just as a side point here, why did they bother taking the newborn to the mikveh? So we had 3 stories, right? 2, first 2 were in Eretz Yisrael, but the last one was in Bavel. Bishleim, I understand, Rabbi Yosi, the first story of the Rebbe, Mishum Trumas Eretz Yisrael. In order to preserve the purity of the Truma in Eretz Yisrael, they had to make sure all members of the family were tahar. Fine. Ela the Rabbi Yosi V'lamali, but Rabbi Yosi was in Bavel. What was the concern? Why did they have to be table the kid? V'amar Shmuel tells us, Ein Trumas Chutz La'aretz Asura. Even the truma that they would do in Chutz La'aretz was only the Rabbanon, and therefore it's only off limits for a person who had a personally generated tumah, like NIDAH, like Keri. But even there, it's only if he eats it. Merely touching is not an issue. And this newborn not having a slice of bread. It's only concerned if he eats. But just merely coming into contact with that truma, it's not an issue. So why do they have to be table the baby? Apparently the need was although she's not gonna actually eat, but they may want to smear some truma oil on her. And smearing is considered a form of ingestion. It's like drinking. And therefore they have to ensure her tahara status. The Sanya, as we find in a Brisa, that smearing has a similar status to drinking. The Sanya, so the pasuk speaks about being careful about the person who's tamei, not to get involved in truma. And the pasuk is extra. It's an extra pasuk there to teach us l'rabbis es hasach, to cover even smearing. So if one smears shemen of truma on a tamei, it's an issue. As hashoisa, where he drinks truma liquids. Ask the Gemara, okay, so granted, we need a pasuk for sicha to tell you that when it comes to truma, sicha is like shtia. It's considered a form of ingestion, like as though he's drinking it. But why do we have to articulate that shaisa is asur? We know that eating is asur. Of course, drinking and eating are pretty much the same experience. Shaisa, to disallow a tummy to drink, truma lam l'kro, why do we need a special pasuk? Shtia b'chal achila. Typically, drinking is covered by eating. It's the same experience. Elo l'rabbis es hasach k'shaisa. We have to tweak the price. We don't have to highlight drinking. That's obvious. Brisa meant to say that we treat sach k'shaisa. Sach is the same issue as drinking. Everybody say mohacha. Alternatively, we have another source that equates smearing with drinking. Tavai, kamayim bekirbai. This is David HaMelech giving a klala to the enemies that the curse should be absorbed within him like water. Kamayim bekirbai v'chashem v'atzmaisam, like oil on his bones. We see this equation between drinking and smearing. So when it comes to Truma, we have a special pasuk that sicha, smearing, is like shtia. Interestingly, the whole discussion halacha regarding soaps, which are manufactured using non-kosher elements, whether it's okay to use that on your skin. And some say, well, we find by Truma that applying on one's skin is tantamount to ingestion, to drinking, therefore it should be asr unless it's kosher. We find likewise in Kippur, right? Sicha is asr. Hence, only kosher soap, but others, Rishonim, Taisus brings over there, others say, no, it's okay because it's specifically, it's exclusive to Truma. But we have a special pasuk that this form of benefit is treated like, actually drinking it, but otherwise, when it comes to other matters, like other kashrus issues, there's no issue just on a surface application. And I believe that's how we paskin. Some are machmer. Vilna Gaon was machmer to use kosher soap, as per this Gemara. That's where it comes from. Sicha kishti. Ask the Gemara. Okay, so we've established the concerns by Yibreis Kusim, because once we know that it applies even to the NIDAH status applies across all ages, even a newborn, and they weren't really careful with that. So, and if it's something that we have to be concerned about because it is shchiach and going like meir, so we treat them all as NIDAH. Ask the Gemara, why is it specific to their communities? Yachid danami. So by us too, newborn should be a NIDAH. You're right, anan, but by us darshinan. We expound on the drush of the pasuk. We accept the dictates of the Chachamim and their understanding of the Torah. It says Isha, but really it says V'Isha. The extra Vav teaches that NIDAH applies across all ages, and we're careful. We have to be careful about even a newborn. So if they see Mafresh, we put them aside, meaning we treat them accordingly. Loi Gazru Rabban. There's no reason for the Chacham to apply Gzera on them. But they who are not careful, they're not abiding by this rule. If there's dam, they don't concern themselves. So you never know who's who and what's what. Gazru Burabban. Therefore, they're all considered like NIDAH. Ma Isha V'Isha. What's the pasuk that you're referring to? The Sanya, Isha, Braisa. So the Isha who had dam, right? It says V'Isha. Enli Isha. So perhaps only an adult woman. Tinokes Basibechad NIDAH Menayin. How do you know NIDAH applies even to a newborn? V'Isha, the extra vav. Covers all ages. Says the Gemara. So apparently, Kimar Bikra, when we have the ribui from the pasuk, the extra vav, it covers even a 1-day-old. Very many have a kasha from a different price on a different discussion, different pasuk. Speaks about a man and woman physically interacted. They both become tamei, a special tuma to that experience. What's the minimum age for that tuma? Ramino Isha talks about an Isha who becomes tamei. Ainly Isha, perhaps only an adult. What about a young woman, 3-year-old in a day, meaning a full 3-year-old? She had this experience. How do you know she's tummy as well? The extra vav. So here we apply it to 3 and up, but not younger than that. So why is it in the previous discussion, when it comes to the general dictate that NIDAH applies to all ages equally, we apply it even to a 1-day-old? How could it be that the same word, the same pasuk, the same type of word found in the 2 psukim should have different meanings? Amar Rava Hilchasanen. Really, it's halacha meshemesina. The minimum age threshold. Rabban just sort of leaned it on the psukim as a semi-source, as a sort of a hint, but really it's based on halacha meshemesina. That gives us that exact age. Now, which one is based on halacha meshemesina? Is it the 1-day-old for the NIDAH or 3-year-old for the other halacha? Haikra by hilchasa. Which one is based on just the pasuk? Which one halacha meshemesina? Ilem basim echad hilchasa. The first halacha that even a newborn is tamei NIDAH, is that halacha meshemesina? And the other halacha, the 3-year-old, is based on the pasuk. How do you know the pasuk is talking about a 3-year-old? just says V'isha, generic. How do you know it's Bas Sholosh Shonim Yechad Kro? Kro Stamaksiv. Torah speaks in general without giving us numbers. Oh, the other way around. Ella, rather, Bas Gimel Shonim Yechad Hilchasa. Halacha is for the 3-year-old, for the halacha of Tamibiyah. And the halacha of the Nida applying across all ages, that's the pasuk. Bas Yemechad Kro. Okay, good. Now comes another question. If regarding the 3-year-old halacha, we have already halacha mishmesina for that, so why do we need a pasuk for that as well? If we have a halacha kro, why an extra pasuk? You're right, it's not for that. We turn to the base. It's coming for another point to tell you that there is a type of tumah which is exclusive to women, which is called oidim, red, the dam. If a man would have some redness, a red emission, he wouldn't be kami. So V'isha is coming to exclude a man from any red-related tumah. Fine. Continues the Gemara. V'odasani. What about the next brayso, which discusses yet a third pasuk regarding a zava? A zava is what comes after nida. First 7 days she nida, and then we have days called yemei ziva, where potentially if she sees dam, she becomes a zava. 3 days in a row, she's a bona fide zava gedola, and that too applies even at a young age. V'odasani isha. The pasuk speaks about an isha being a zava. Ein isha, perhaps only an adult. What about a 10-day-old child? That's the minimum, because you can only become a zava on day 10 of your dam experience. So here you can't say a newborn, but at least 10 days old. Bas yud yam ziva. How do we know it applies to a 10-day-old baby? Tamlayma v'isha. Okay, so it's the third brayso, the third v'isha. One was that the standard nida applies to all ages. One was that the halacha of tumas bia applies to 3-year-old, but then we transferred it to the halacha to exclude a man from oidim. And the third time we have the v'isha regarding ziva that again applies across all ages. In this case, a minimum of a 10-day-old baby. The question is, why do we need a new pasuk that ziva applies across all ages? Once we have it established for a nida, just learn from nida that it's not age-related. We need a special pasuk because you could differentiate between the two. The Torah only says it by a nida, that it applies across all ages. Havamina would say nida, nida has strictnesses. She has one experience, and there goes tumah of 7 days. Aval zava, but by a zava, initially, if she only has one sighting, she needs one clean day. She has only one riyah. Corresponding to that day, she has to keep another day clean. So it doesn't start off so severe. Perhaps it's not as strict as nida. It wouldn't apply across all ages. Tricha, that necessitates a pasuk as well. On the other hand, the Torah only stipulated by the zava. Automatically, we know that it applies to nida as well. Because in this case, it's obvious you can't become a zava without first traversing the nida experience. You can't be a zava without becoming a nida. So, if a 10-day-old is a zava, evidently she already experienced nida. Oh, that's a good one. So we're stuck, and we don't really need a pasuk. The nida applies across all ages because we already know it from zava. So why do we need a special pasuk there? Once again, to exclude a man from redness. We already have that. We already had the other pasuk for that. The answer is there are 2 forms of red emissions that we have to discount by the man. One is l'mutim mishach. If he has zera, which is red, we discounted. Secondly, to exclude, we sees dam. So different types of red experiences, which are not an issue by a man. So let's just stop for a second. We have the psukim, v'isha, v'isha, v'isha. Turns out that one tells us that the tumah of nida and zava applies across all ages, from day 1 until 120 years. And we have the 2 other psukim, tumimayit, to exempt a man from tumah of red emissions. V'chein linan zacharim, likewise, correspondingly we find a pasuk on the male side of things. You should know that the tumah of a man, of a ziva, etc., applies even on a 1 day old. The sanya, ish. So the pasuk speaks about an ish, a man who became a zav. What's the repetition? Ish, matam alaymar. Ish, l'rabbi tzina k'mim nechad, shu matame beziva. Even a newborn can become a zav. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yishmael, b'nai, shel Rabbi Yechon b'rekaima ain't tzarech. We don't need this pasuk for this purpose. We already have it from elsewhere. We have a pasuk la zachar v'la nekeva, and we learn la zachar means kol shu zachar, all ages of a zachar, bein shu gadol, bein shu katan, adult, a minor. The word v'la nekeva, likewise, kol shu nekeva applies to all nekevas equally. It's not age related. Bein gadol, bein katan. So why does the pasuk actually say it like that? Ish. It's not needed for this halacha. It's just a way of expression, a way of speaking. Sometimes the Torah speaks in a conversant fashion. Okay, now comes a kasha. Very similar to the previous Gemara, almost word for word. Apparently, when the Torah is marbe and applies ziva to all ages, even to 1 day old, right? Raminu have a kasha from a different pasuk, where we expand a certain tumah across ages, but there it doesn't apply to just a 1 day old. It has to be at least a 9-year-old. So why is it that over here we take it all the way to a newborn? Over there we stop at 9 years old. Raminu ish. This is a pasuk regarding a man who had a shefa zera emission. This type of tumah is limited to an adult. What about under adulthood? Ben Teisha Shonim. Now, what if he's 9 years old? Tamlana Vish. The extra vav covers him as well. Why are we stopping at 9 years old? Whereas by Ziva, we go all the way down to a newborn. Amar Rabba. Once again, Hilchas Anin, it's based on halacha. And it was just sort of latched onto the psukim. Asmechinu Rabban Akroi. Hi Hilchas of Ikra. Which one of these two is halacha? Which one is based on the pasuk? We have the halacha that ziva even to a newborn and carry to a 9-year-old. Which is halacha? Which is a pasuk? Ilema ben yamechad hilchas is the halacha for the newborn. Uben teshanim yamechad kra, and the halacha of the 9-year-old is a pasuk. Where do we find numbers in the pasuk? Kra stomach. So the Torah speaks undefined without the numbers. Ella ben teshanim yamechad hilchas. You have to say halacha is regarding the carry and limits it to a 9-year-old and up. Uben yamechad kra, and the ziva applying to all ages, even a newborn is in fact a pasuk. Ask the Gemara, same question as before. So regarding the 9-year-old halacha, we have a halacha. So why do we need a pasuk for that? Once again, it's coming for something else, to exempt a woman from being affected by a white emission. She's only telling if she sees red. Now comes a question. So we know that the tumah of a zav applies even to a newborn boy. Tumah of NIDAH, even to a newborn girl. Why do we need a special pasuk for each one? Why can't we just correlate them? Why a special pasuk for zachar and a special pasuk for the young nekeva? They're needed because you can't necessarily match them up. Each one is separate and distinct, has its own strictnesses, and perhaps has its own rules. The Gaz Rachmana B'Schar, the Torah only said it by the zachar that he's matami when he's young, and mishum the matama b'riyas could be a zachar. A man is a chumrah. You see, unlike a woman, where it's days related, so she only becomes a zav if she sees 3 consecutive days. By a man, it's riyas. Kiva yamim, just like 3 days in a row. Likewise, there's 3 experiences in a row, even in the same day. So in a way, he's more strict. And perhaps that's why it applies all across the board and not age related. Aval nekevas, lamatam b'riyas could be yam, but nekevas that don't have the same stipulation. There has to be separate days. Emelay, perhaps they're not subject to the all age, unlimited age, rule. Because Rachonim nekevas, on the other hand, the Torah only says that all nekevas are affected, all ages. They have a strictness over the male as well, because if they have a re'iyah ba'inus due to some sort of external causation, they also become tamei, even though it's not really so natural, coming from within, some exertion or whatever that caused it. So since they had that added chumrah, perhaps that justifies why their tumah is all-encompassing. But by males, but they're not subject to Tumas Oynes. If he has an emission that was triggered by some sort of external force, he's tar. So perhaps he's not subject to the all-age stipulation as well, tzricha. Hence, the requirement on both ends, Torah has to tell you whether it's a zachor or a nekeva, the tumas apply to all ages equally. Okay, so in conclusion, we spoke about the Kusim families, who at this point were treated like Yisraelim, with complications. What was an example of a complication? We learned from a pasuk that Tumas Nida can apply even to a newborn, which is actually something that happens. We had a couple several stories to back that up. And unfortunately, the Bnei Kusim did not have did not abide by the drashes, by the dictates of Chazal. They did not treat a young woman as a nida, in which case now there's a chashash that they're all nidas there. We have to treat them accordingly. It turns out that we have a pasuk that nida applies to all ages, and likewise to maziva. We explained the necessity of both pasuk. Okay, all the best to you, and atzlacha.